Kingda Ka, the world's tallest roller coaster, has closed for good.
Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit is set to be demolished and replaced with a new, larger attraction at Universal Studios.
If you told me 2024 was the worst year in theme park history, I would absolutely agree with you.
2024 for the theme park community was definitely interesting. As we sit and wait for the New Year's ball drop, you can't help but reflect on what happened this year, and there was a lot in the theme park industry. The most notable thing about 2024 being known as the worst year ever for theme park enthusiasts. I mean, maybe. To be honest, if someone claimed that, it's totally understandable, especially for those Six Flags Great Adventure fans, as they were getting non-stop hits this year with ride removals left and right. On the other hand, there were still some great things this year brought, and in today's video we're looking back one more time as what is considered to be an atrocious year for coaster enthusiasts, finding out just how true that statement is. The best way to set this up and make a final verdict for 2024 is honestly this year's biggest pros and biggest cons, starting with the more significant moments at the beginning of the year all the way to the end. I won't lie, this year started pretty hopeful. Leaving 2023, we were promised exciting new rides on the horizon for multiple parks. This included Six Flags, Cedar Fair, international parks, and etc. It may not have been an insane lineup of rides, and for some reason this year's edition was more on the smaller side, it was still planned to be a good year for roller coasters, as well as for certain theme parks. Six Flags Great Adventure was also celebrating their 50th anniversary this year, which included an exciting new modern Vekoma coaster known as the Flash. Many of course were excited for this thing, even with the many coasters the park had, but little did we know, we were in for so much more. As we approached March, so many great things started to happen. At this point in time, some coasters have received much needed care and improvement. Some examples included the iconic Nemesis and Alton Towers. After the worry of how good this ride would turn out, it was a success with an amazing modern theme, new effects, and the biggest complaint just being a rattle, which is a complaint I'll start to hear more of as we continue this year. But anyways, it was still a good refresh. In the state of Pennsylvania, Hershey Park also revamped one of their coasters with Skyrush, now with the new plain theme, new effects, and better restraints taking away its previous known name of Thigh Crush. We also had two new rides open up with Catapult Falls and SeaWorld San Antonio located in San Antonio, Texas. This one-of-a-kind launch flume ride looked genuinely amazing, and it's crazy how much we've advanced technologically in the theme park industry. Though the most iconic opening of the March season was definitely Fire in the Hole at Silver Dollar City, their most expensive investment and RMC's first try at an indoor family coaster. The details were stunning and miles ahead of its predecessor, but also kept the charm and history of the original, a perfect way to pay tribute to an original ride and make it modern. Now while plenty of pros did come about in March, there were still plenty of cons. One example was the complete closure of Dodonpa at Fuji-Q Highland. This was the world's fastest accelerating coaster, but it had been standing but not operating for the longest time. In March, the park officially announced that the ride will be retired permanently, leaving a huge elite-sized hole in the coaster community. But soon more changes were on the way for an elite coaster as well, this time being Lightning Rod at Dollywood, known for being one of the more intense RMCs ever created, thanks to the amazing launch lift hill it had. Due to the numerous technical malfunctions this coaster had, the park decided to retire that lift hill and return it back to an original status with a basic chain lift, meaning a slower ride experience, taming an extreme beast, and also making many sad about it. When April came along, even more new coasters opened up, some being new family coasters which still were amazing, but the biggest highlights include the two beautiful thrill machines, Hyperia and Voltron. One truly a record breaker with Hyperia now becoming the UK's tallest and fastest roller coaster, and the other a highly unique and extremely well-themed coaster with Voltron never having a bad angle to take a photo of. Both extremely well thought out rides, and both had a massive debut bringing in lots of crowds. Still, 4 months into 2024 it all looked good, and we still had so many new rides to open up from Six Flags and so much more. This was supposed to be the year for new rides, but suddenly things started to take a turn in May. As the month began, it truly started off with a bang as Universal dropped the first new looks of their amazing new theme park, Epic Universe, soon to be Disney's new biggest rival, which to be honest is shocking in itself because Universal received a massive glow up from being a screen-based park to now an all-around immersive experience no one can match. It didn't stop there though. Universal also dropped another banger with announcing a huge new project for Universal Studios Hollywood with Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift. a launched controlled spinning coaster that the park had been desperately needing, and it's crazy that it's actually happening. Then of course we also have the all-new Iron Menace that opened up at Dorney Park, a relatively small Cedar Fair park that received their biggest addition in a while. While it had a great debut, there were some complaints about a rattle at the very end of the attraction. This second claim on shakiness for modern B&M coasters, which was a little concerning. As the month progressed, a few more family coasters did open up, but what took all the attention of May was arguably one of, or if not, the most controversial topic of the year, Top Thrill 2. The year prior put Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point in a very risky situation, potentially meaning the end of this coaster. Out of nowhere though, Zamperla of all manufacturers decided to step in and take the daunting task of remodeling the ride. Top Thrill Dragster became Top Thrill 2, now including a 400-foot tall spike and a swing launch. This of course split the community into two, as many were worried it may not surpass the original and it's too risky of a challenge. Despite the worry, on May 24th, Top Thrill 2 made its debut to pass holders and early guests, completely shocking everyone. From what it seemed, all previous worries of Top Thrill 2 not being as good as the original melted away, as reviews were raving about its launch, design, and new theme, making this ride a lot better, and truly was an improvement on the original. It was photogenic, mesmerizing, and unreal. The thing is, the hype would not last, and this is what I like to call a canon event that plunged 2024 into a downhill spiral steeper than TT2's first spike. Just 8 days after TT2 operating, technical issues soon arise, leaving the ride to shut down and leaving guests to wait on news of its possible reopening. It looked temporary, but days started to turn into weeks, and weeks started to turn into months. To this day, we still have no word on TT2, and it's been a popular debate for the greater half of this year. Now while that's going on, other news draws our attention in July, as the rumored merger between Six Flags and Cedar Fair actually happens. Now all under the name Six Flags. We now have the ability to buy a pass that takes us to all 42 parks in the entire chain. And while it was exciting at the time, it led to a domino effect that would affect the rest of the year soon. And that all started in August. This is the month I consider the climax of 2024 for the coaster community. Everything was going good, but things started to get put into motion, causing a mass of unexpected announcements and shocking news for the remainder of the year. The first blow hit with the closure of Scorpion at Busch Gardens, Tampa. This iconic Schwarzkopf coaster has been thrilling riders for years, but 2024 said goodbye to this classic. Many of course were sad for this beloved classic to leave the park, but what we didn't know at the time is that the opportunity to ride this attraction for at least one final week made a bigger difference than you could imagine, especially with the more incoming bad news. Six Flags then confirmed that their 2024 attractions would be delayed to 2025, but for those Great Adventure fans, it started to hurt a little bit, as their 50th birthday coaster was not going to happen on the 50th year. And yet the news only continued. This second round of closures soon hit Cedar Point, with the announcement that the classic Snake River Falls attraction will never be returning again. And while it seemed typical, making way for a possible new attraction, turns out their new attraction would be placed somewhere else, making an unnecessary closure, as well as also closing down Frontier Fling. Compared to what happened next though, this was a minor occurrence. In October, virtually out of nowhere, content creators like El Toro Orion or Coaster Studios started talking about the possibility of the closure of the world's tallest and fastest coaster, Kingda Ka at Great Adventure. To many, it didn't make sense, and it only became more confusing when they generally started to sound like the coaster would be leaving without warning. Apparently, the claims were that Kingda Ka would have one more weekend left in November, and Six Flags themselves would say nothing about it. So you would need to get there as fast as possible to get one final ride, or never again. When this came out, the talk after was like a bomb going off. How could Kingda Ka close without warning? Why is it closing? It's all a hoax. Turns out it wasn't. And just like the content creators said, Kingda Ka launched for the last time on that weekend. Now luckily, some very good fortune enthusiasts were able to make the spontaneous trip for the final time. But not many could, and left many angry at Six Flags for actually closing the ride and not even giving riders a final opportunity. In reality, if it weren't for those content creators, no one would know about the ride's closure. And that's insane to think about. Closing the most iconic attraction at Great Adventure may seem bad enough, but seriously, this park got the short end of the stick in 2024, and especially on their 50th birthday. I say this because not only did Kingda Ka close, but literally 6 total attractions including Ka will be shutting down forever. Green Lantern, Twister, Skyway, the Parachutes, and Zumjaro. A combo of closures all in a span of a few days, all without warning. It's a Great Adventure fan worst nightmare, and it was happening in reality. Then, it got worse. Other Six Flags parks silently removed their attractions. My home park, Six Flags Over Texas, just a few days after Call's announcement, shut down our family bobsled coaster La Vibra as well as the Larson Loop El Diablo. This closure trend wasn't only happening in Six Flags though. In the same month of November, Disney was announcing their new attractions, which included the shutdown of a lot of classics. Tom Sawyer Island, The Ferry, Rock and Roller Coaster's original theme, and the Muppets attraction as well as its land. Now in their case, there's still time to ride, but it was still a shocking announcement regardless. As the days flew by, Six Flags was still continuing to shut down attractions. This time, Carowinds was next with 3 shutdowns. The classic Nighthawk coaster, Screamweaver, and their drop tower. Then, a few days after that, Anaconda, King's Dominion is also biting the dust. All silent, no warning, and all no final opportunity to ride. Then of course, the removal fresh on all our minds, Rip Ride Rockit at Universal. Now obviously, some of these attractions were expected to leave soon, but what made it unreal was the bad timing of these announcements. To lose so many attractions in short little notice, as well as the majority of them being staples in the coaster community, it left kind of a bad taste in our mouth as we're entering a brand new year. Sure, about 90% of them will be replaced with a brand new coaster or attraction, but it's the fact that we're never going to see these rides again as we enter 2025 is such a big deal. But anyways, now that we got the gist of 2024, because obviously there was way more that happened, and we can't cover it all in the video, what is the final verdict of this year? Does it really deserve to be crowned as the worst year in the theme park industry? Well first, looking at the pros and cons. Obviously the cons outnumber the pros. Too many ride delays, too many ride closures, and a lot of false promises that never happened. There were derailments. There was Radley coasters. It didn't look good. On the pros, we did get lots of new coasters, majority being family rides, but the major thrill ones that did open were absolutely amazing. And I think in my opinion, we can't let the worst year cover all those amazing feats. Plus, individually, you might have had a good year yourself, doing your favorite attraction, going to a new theme park, or etc. Obviously, not everything was bad. While it wasn't the worst year, it definitely wasn't one of the best. And like I said, some good things came out of it. Even in the Kingda Ka situation, it's kind of heartwarming to see how much care the coaster community has for each other. As without content creators and people who love theme parks, we would have never banded together for one final ride on Kingda Ka. And while I myself didn't get to experience it, for those who did, I bet it was now a core memory. Plus, what's the point in looking in the past when 2025 has an even more exciting lineup promised for us? Just a little summary and everything new coming next year. We finally get to see Epic Universe in action, most likely going to be the new best theme park in the US. Six Flags will finally open their delayed attractions, as well as their new 2025 attractions. And speaking of Six Flags across the other side of the world, Six Flags Qiddiya will also be opening with the world's tallest and fastest coaster. Yes, the one we all thought was not real, it's happening next year. While 2024 may have been a year of lots of closures, 2026 will definitely be a year of lots of openings. And I, for one, is super excited to see what's coming next in the theme park industry next year. But with 2024 now in the books, what do you think? What was the best and what was the worst moment of this year? I'd love to hear your comments down below. And if you're still watching at this point, I seriously appreciate you, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button to help me out. With all that said, have an amazing new year, and here's 2025. This is JB Thrills signing out.